It is a good opportunity today, again, to remind ourselves that Europe cannot look or give an impression of fatigue when the war in Ukraine has not ended. We cannot get tired imposing sanctions. We cannot get tired offering assistance and help to Ukraine. We have to take very seriously Ukraine's request to start candidacy process to EU, and there is this feeling in the room that we would like to sit down and take a breath because the first 3 or even 4 weeks have been incredibly difficult, not to Ukraine but to Europeans, and I think it's a very bad message to those who are actually fighting in Ukraine.
So you're talking about new sanctions. What kind of new sanctions?
I think it is unavoidable to start talking about the energy sector, and we definitely can talk about oil, because it is the biggest revenue to Russian budget, and also it's quite easily replaceable because of our infrastructure and multiple suppliers existent.
Russia is now using hypersonic weapons. How should you react to that?
I think it's a question to the whole global alliance, let's say, the alliance who was supportive of sanctions and the whole attitude towards Russia. We have to start discussing about the red lines. Are there any? And what would be the red line for the West, for all of us? Now we're seeing shelling of civilian cities. We're seeing thousands of civilians dead. Obviously, it's still not a red line, but somewhere there has to be one.
Where's your red line?
Well, mine has been already, but I'm a part of a global alliance where we are seeking a consensus. Therefore, I'm one voice saying that this is our war, and if we lose it, that's it. It's on us.
Red line means you want to intervene.
I think that we have to tell Russians that we are very serious about their actions, and it's not just that we are allowing everything to go on as Putin has planned.
Germany is still reluctant to commit to an energy embargo. How do you want to convince them?
Well, I think that German public is doing a lot of convincing to German government, and so far they have been quite successful at that. I hope that they will continue.
Can we expect fifth package message does Lithuania have?
I'm sorry?
What message does Lithuania have?
I think that, first of all, I mentioned some of the things that we have to be very serious about. One of the things that we also should not forget is the defense of the eastern flank. And since I'm coming from the Baltic states, I would specify that the Baltic states are in desperate need of additional attention when it comes to security and defense. We have been relying on deterrence. I think that phase should be over, and we have to rely now on actual standing defense.
There's been a buildup of troops and weapons the past few weeks and months. What more do you want to see?
I think we need to see more equipment, and first of all, the actual defense plans of the Baltic countries that would reflect the changed strategic reality of the region.
Military assistance from Europe to Ukraine has already been processed. I mean, some parts of it. What is Ukraine still in need for at the moment? What is still going to come from Europe in terms of military equipment?
There is some information that not every country that has committed to helping Ukraine has actually delivered on its promise. So that's for every country to internally review its process. What else can be done? Ukraine needs more weapons. With the weapons that were provided, Ukraine has managed to stop Russian invasion so far, and with the will to fight. So if we're serious about giving Ukraine a chance to defend their own country, we have to be extremely serious about the weapons that we're providing. And first of all, and we're not talking about huge and very sophisticated weaponry. It's the weapons that allow to stop the tanks and then shoot down the airplanes. It's Stingers and Javelins. And I've been saying that, since the invasion began. Instead of hopes and prayers, let's send Stingers and Javelins.
Does Europe need a central distribution system for the refugees?
I would think so. Yes, because the scale of refugees is unprecedented. We haven't seen anything like it, nor in 2015, basically since the Second World War. So I think that the refugee crisis is just started, and we're seeing in Lithuania, we're seeing thousands of people coming in every day. So far we're managing, but if it's not stopping, obviously we will need a central assistance from Brussels. No. Well, I think that China didn't show in any way that it's choosing a right side of history. So, and I personally do not believe that there is a gray zone, a sort of a sit-on-the-fence position in this war. We have to choose a side, and I would trust those who choose the side of Ukraine.
Do you have any indications that China is providing military assistance to Russia?
Just that what was announced publicly.
How would you react to that in case that happened?
Well, that would mean that China is joining the conflict.
So more sanctions for China?
I would not disapprove of such a debate.
Sir, come back to what you said, red line. Does it mean you want to convince your partners here at the European level to intervene in military terms? But
Look, I'm saying that we cannot avoid to have this debate. If Russia escalates with weapons of mass destruction, even in limited scale, and I'm talking about biological or chemical attack, is this still going to be a business as usual? Just what we watch over the news? I don't think so. It's the credibility of the West is on the line, and I would definitely ask my colleagues to participate in this debate, to invent new mechanisms. If a single country cannot do that, we have to push them in United Nations, in the Security Council. We have to reinvent then mechanisms that were there after the Second World War. Basically, this reality, we cannot just live with it and pretend that nothing is happening.
how would you assess the readiness to talk about this?
I think we're entering a stage where we will have to do it.
What is your view, some suggestion of an international tribunal, not the international court, but a special international tribunal that's being suggested, Nuremberg style? What is your view of that?
It could be unavoidable to have that. Because basically we also, there is a lot of debate on who's to blame in this situation. And I personally think that there is a lot of similarity between Putinism and Nazism. That means that it's an ideology. It's a system where it has leaders, it has an ideology, it has followers, it has even a symbol. So I think that we have to have a systematic approach to the ideology, to the whole, to the Putinism itself, and it has to be assessed. And probably a tribunal could be a way to do it, a place to do it.
To come back on the sanctions already adopted, how do you make sure that they are not circumvented via Turkey or Serbia?
I think that for few things. First of all, political. There has to be a very clear message to every country, a third country, who would help Russia to circumvent sanctions, that the same sanctions could be applied to the country as well. And we have to be very serious about this. This is also about our credibility. Second, I think we're entering a new stage of sanctions. No country, European Union, has never had that much extent of sanctions that we do now. Therefore, we have to have maybe even an institution that would be solely devoted to a sanctions question, to overseeing, implementing, and executing the whole process, since the political decision is being made, all the way to seeing how it is implemented. Before that, it was quite easy when United Nations would impose would sanction a country somewhere far away, and it was not that difficult to follow through. Now, when a country from a Security Council is being sanctioned to the extent, and probably I would suggest even more, it should be sanctioned. I think that we need an oversee process much serious than it is now.
Minister, and what about supporting Georgia and Moldova on its European perspective? Because we also replied.
We are supporting as well as a Lithuanian country, Lithuania, but I think that Ukraine deserves a separate track currently, due to the war that is happening. Thank you.